It is a tradition that transcends the game itself, capable of stirring deep pride in those who cherish it and crippling fear in those who challenge it. It is a bridge between times, channeling the spirit of warriors past with the souls of warriors today. It is not a cheer, it is not a mascot. It is the perfect embodiment of the heart of the unconquered. It is the most celebrated rally in all of college athletics. It is the tradition of Chief Osceola and Renegade.
Tradition is something that happens the same way every year, and the same way that we do the tradition today in terms of how the horse runs down the field and then runs onto the Seminole head and plants the spear is the same way that it was done in 1978. Well, the concept of Osceola and Renegade was an idea that my father had when he was a student back in the 1960s. He was a sophomore on the homecoming committee. And so they were trying to think of a way to generate some spirit, some excitement. And Dad said, you know, we've had this great privilege to call ourselves the Seminoles. What a wonderful honor that the Seminole tribe of Florida has allowed us to have. And what better to show that relationship and that tribute to the Seminole people, the Seminole tribe of Florida and their true unconquered spirit, than to have one of our students portray one of their most famous warriors, Osceola, and to have that student ride a horse out onto the football field carrying a flaming spear, leading our football team out onto the field, and then to take that flaming spear, run it out to the middle of the field on horseback, rear him up, and plant that spear in the center of the field to signify the start of a home football game at Florida State. And he thought that'd be something that'd be pretty exciting, that hopefully the fans would get behind, and certainly, first and foremost, would show great honor and respect to the Seminole tribe. Well, the committee loved it and said, "Gosh, would you try to figure out how we can put that together?" And he went down and met with the university administration. Didn't get a real warm response at the time. I think it was more focused on having a horse on the football field. They said, "No, we're just not going to do that." When Coach Bowden came here in the 1970s, Dad had the opportunity to be out at his house one evening, and Coach Bowden and Dad and Mrs. Bowden were talking about generating some spirit. And Coach Bowden said, you know, we need a symbol here at FSU. Dad saw that as the perfect opportunity to say, well, Bobby, I've had this idea since I was a student. And he told him about the concept of Osceola and Renegade. And Coach Bowden loved the idea and said, oh, gosh, Bill, will you do it? Will you put it together? And Dad said that he would. And the very first thing he did after that meeting with Coach Bowden was he called down to the Seminole Indian Reservation and he made an appointment with Chief Howard Tommy, who was the chief of the tribe at that time. And as he explained it and talked about what he wanted to do, he said, the reason I'm here today is that we would never do anything that would not be endorsed by the tribe, and we certainly wouldn't want to do anything that you didn't agree with. And that's why I wanted to come down here today and meet with you to see if it was okay if we did this. And Chief Tommy loved the idea, and he really got behind it and said that they would support it. And a lot of people ask us, you know, how do you find your riders? We have all sorts of things that are going on that didn't happen back over 30 years ago. So the conditions have gotten more intense, and particularly too as people anticipate that tradition. But it's become so advanced, and the type of person we need on that horse has to be a very, very advanced equestrian. So now we recruit for the role, and the gentleman that we have that is our current Osceola is junior. His name is Drake Anderson.
Previous to Mr. Allen contacting me, I knew very little about the program. I knew nothing of Osceola and Renegade, and I only knew of FSU because of Bobby Bowden and the success of the football team.
I went up to where he lives and met with his family, watched him ride, videoed him. We brought him back to FSU, had him spend some time here, and then through that process, as we narrowed it down and we knew that he was an exceptional equestrian and he was a great student, so then we gave him the books on Osceola.
When he contacted me, I was he was like, you know, we ride a horse out on the field, and you plant a flaming spear on the 50-yard line to start the home football games. I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty cool, but you know, I don't know anything about it. And, you know, what is this Osceola guy? I've never even heard of him. And then he gave me a book called Light a Distant Fire, and it was an autobiographical book about Osceola and the Seminole Wars, and how Osceola's life unfolded, and how he ended up being captured, and all that entailed. And I had to write a paper about what it meant to me to be Osceola, to represent this war leader. And at that point, it started sinking in a little bit, you know, how much of an honor it was for me to be considered.
We're looking for that one that says, wow, I understand what a great warrior that Osceola was, and all that he represented, and the Seminole tribe, and all of their struggles, and everything that they went through to become that unconquered Native American tribe, and all that that represents, and to understand the weight that is on them to portray that in the right way when he takes out onto that football field here at Florida State University. So we want to make sure that that student really understands that role, appreciates it, because they're going to have to personify it to the fullest extent.
Osceola was a leader, a war leader. He was not actually a tribal chief, but he was a war leader, and he was one of the most revered war leaders of the Seminole tribe. And for me to portray that, it comes with a lot of honor for me and a lot of respect that I give to the Seminole Nation.
When you really understand who Osceola was and what he represented and what he went through, and then you look at the whole Seminole tribe and their history, and you see that fierce determination in the Seminole tribe members to this day, and how they represent themselves, it's truly special. And to have any type of small connection to that in terms of trying to make sure we're showing great respect to who they are and what they represent, and to have that honor to portray a warrior as great as Osceola here at Florida State is, well, obviously it's something that keeps me coming back many, many, many years later.